We've heard 1,000 times people saying, you are holding yourself back. And you start thinking about it, how can I hold myself back? Like, don't I want the best for myself? How does this happen that I'm invested in myself and I'm stopping myself from growing? How? How does that happen? How many times have you procrastinated something that's gonna be good for you? Hey, that's just between you, and you're stopping yourself from success. How many times have you avoided something because you fear that there might be a little bit of struggle there? That's yourself holding yourself back. How many times have you known the right thing that would make you grow, yet you choose an old habit? Hey, there is a little hint, an old habit, old knowledge, old you. Old you, new you. What's all this? Just because something worked yesterday, it does not mean it's gonna work today. Just because you knew something then, it doesn't mean that what you know then applies today. This is a constant upgrade. Just like we have computers, phones that need upgrading, this also needs upgrading. And every time you fail to do so, you get stuck in the past. Let's take a little bit of a trip with a story, a classic horror scene. Some kids, 19, 20, whatever, they're in a car and there's a little bit of a dispute between them. One of the girls says, "Stop, I've had enough. Stop the car right here. I want to get out." "No, no, no, yes, yes." They stop the car. She swears at him, "I don't want to see you guys again," and walks. She hasn't thought about this. She's in her rage and she hasn't noticed where she is. But actually, she's just walked off into a graveyard. It's too late now. She's already walking. She's alone. She's walking. And she's still a little bit absent-minded. She's thinking about what they were having an argument about. As her feet are stepping on fallen leaves, she notices tombstones everywhere she looks. She gulps. What am I doing here? She looks around, assumes there's an exit that way, and keeps walking. She's walking, walking, walking. Wind, soft. There's a mist coming onto her face. She wipes it away. It's a blurred image in front of her. She looks, and there's a grave, freshly dug, and it's moving. She gulps and hurries, looks back. Is it true what she's seen? The grave is moving, the dirt is moving. She looks again, and it's true. She looks at another place and she sees another one. What does she do now? She rushes, and now she sees a hand coming out of the graves. She walks backwards this time. She can't believe what's happening. This can't be real. As she's taken a step back, something grabs her by the ankle. She screams, kicks her leg away as she sees an arm coming out of the grave. If you grew up in the 80s, you would have seen a lot of movies like that. You can tell I've been scarred by them. Why are these movies so impactful? Think about it. She's young. She's walked into a graveyard. What's in the graveyard? Dead. Old things that are dead and gone. What makes it scary is that the old dead and gone should be dead and gone, but they've come back and they're holding her by the ankle. They're holding her back. Now, let's apply this to our lives. Of course, you can go to the grave as many times as you want. Nothing's going to grab you, assuming. But our thoughts, they're old. They grab us and hold us back. Some thoughts belong to us when we were 8 years old, 10 years old, and they're still hovering now. Someone who bullied you when you were 10 or 11. Someone who said something nasty to you when you were 12 or whatever. And then we're holding on to these, and they are holding us by the ankle, pulling us back. You see, this is the theme we want to get to, that these old things, the old us, is holding the new us back. Now you see, old thoughts need to be cleaned up. If you don't clean them up, they will eventually take over and you'll get stuck in the past. So you're living 2025, 2026, but your thoughts are still 1995, 2005. You're going through the same thing in your thoughts that you were back then. For that reason, we need to upgrade. We need to unlearn some things, and we need to rewire and reprogram our brain, which are all possible to do. If you don't do that, what will happen is you'll be in your old train of thought, in your old you, but the old you is gone, and the new you is looking for new opportunities, new doors that have opened, new people to meet. You'll meet someone new, and instead of seeing the new person, you'll see an image of an old person in that new person. And then you wonder, they're all the same. Look at people who are bitter after a divorce, people who are bitter after a friendship fallout. You must have heard the words when people are like, all women are the same. All men are the same. They're all pigs. They're all this. They're all that. You can't trust anyone. Obviously, they're not talking about the new thing. They're talking about whatever scarred them in the past. So they're living in the past. And that living in the past is just a thought process, because that person that you just met is not the person you met before. I'm not saying they're better or worse, but they're not that person. So, and you are forcing them to be that person. If you can successfully start seeing this in you and say, hey, I should approach life, instead of I know everything because of what happened to me 20 years ago, why don't you approach it with a little bit more wisdom? And that wisdom is actually a lot more like a child. If you keep approaching new circumstances with old ways of thinking, you're going to miss out. There'll be a new door, but to you, this is not a new door. This is the old door disguised as a new door. You'll meet a new person. You'll be like, no, I know what's there. That's not who it is. And then you'll just be living in this anxiety. In the old wisdom, you'd hear, someone like Jesus, he says, you will not enter heaven until you return children. Nietzsche, the philosopher, and he talks about the child. He talks about the three, there's the camel, the lion, and the child. And these are different progressions that we go through. The child. What is so special about the child? It's actually the innocence, the freshness in how a child approaches a situation. They're not carrying all that negative old thinking patterns. One beautiful scene, if you haven't, please Google it or YouTube it, whatever. There is a lioness and she's out on a hunt, and as she's on the hunt, she comes across a baby antelope. The baby antelope, it's new, it's fresh. It sees the lioness and just treats it with all this love and care. Funny enough and interesting, even though that's a wild lion, it adopts the little baby antelope, and you see it caring for it. It sits there and protects it, doesn't allow anyone to come to it. It's a beautiful symbol because it reminds us as well, when you approach a situation fresh, instead of having the old lens, this person hurt me, so this person's going to try to hurt me. I lost there, so I'm going to be losing again. Instead of coming there, hey, you come to a situation fresh, new, hope. Does that mean that nothing's going to go wrong? No, 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 no. And there is lessons to be taken from the past. I'm not saying grab the past and forget it, but don't let it dictate to you everything from here on. Because sure, there are patterns and there are people out there that are going to try to hurt you. There are situations that are going to try to hurt you. That's true. But if that's all you're going to take, you're not going to take that, hey, this could be a new opportunity, then don't blame life when you feel that you're blocked and locked up, because it's not life that's locking you up. It's those old patterns. We need to lighten up and approach it with some freshness. Approach it new. You know what? Tell yourself, today, I'm going to remind myself that it's a new day. New day, new experiences. Not the old dictating to you everything. This is where hope comes in. There's always a new door. You know what? That door's shut, but there's another door that'll open. And it's not blind optimism. This is reality. The reality is that there is always something new popping up. So yes, we are holding ourselves back. And the way we are doing this is just by simply not letting go of past emotional holds to us. You are stuck in the past, so you become blind to the present.